Okay. Now you do the same thing. You do the same thing with your plurals, right? How would I make a plural? If I've got, how would I make a plural?
For nominative,
Mm-hmm.
it would, wait. So you would change the iota to a epsilon. So then it would be epsilon, epsilon, sigma, or would you just do epsilon, sigma?
Or would it be eta?
Oh yeah, eta. It would be eta, sigma, too.
Epsilon?
Or,
And
Is the
I'm gonna
iota
find something here real
epsilon
quick
changed?
before.
I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, we've got choices. Let's just go with the first one. Let's just go with the first choice, okay? So what would I put here to make it into a nominative?
Epsilon.
Huh?
Wait, to make it a nominative?
To make it into a nominative, plural.
The epsilon sigma.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, epsilon
Yeah.
sigma.
But then do we have to
But-
apply the constant
But
iota?
Yeah.
Are you applying?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like the
And then we
rule.
drop the iota out and it's just.
Okay, so if the,
epsilon sigma?
okay, let's go through it. Okay, so if the case ending begins with a vowel,
Yeah. Which
Okay.
is
then the final stem vowel is what?
an epsilon.
Epsilon, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so what do I do here then?
You turn the iota into epsilon, which with the two epsilons
Yeah,
Would
that's
they
what we
contract
were just
then?
talking.
contract and become an eta, right?
Okay.
Or no?
An eta?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So then I would make it into an eta,
So
right?
it'd be pistis. Right?
yeah.
Actually, in this particular case,
No.
Okay.
you see,
This case.
okay, you see where you've got your parenthesis? You see the parenthesis there?
Ace.
Okay, it's supposed to be this.
Ace.
Okay, and here's the thing. If you look over, you'll see the parenthesis on the eos and then ice. It's referring to this particular stem.
Wait, where are you seeing that?
See the ice under the plural?
Yeah,
Okay, and then you also have that same parenthesis over here.
for the
Okay,
outs and the
it's
eos.
showing you that this is kind of the oddball, right?
So it
This-
doesn't change to an eta then?
No.
It's-
What do you mean? Change what to eta?
Remember, we were just saying that since there's two epsilons, it would change to an eta, and you said yes.
Yes, it does, but this is the ending that you're going to use, is the ice ending. So yes, you are changing you are putting an eta here, and it is contracting, but it's contracting, and this is the ending now.
So
You
it's
see
not
where it
gonna
is in the
actually change
parenthesis?
to
Yeah, I
eta.
saw. I just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right, but that's the one that you use for
Right,
this.
but we're not gonna do it. We're gonna
Huh?
do the, yeah.
So that's how it normally would be, but not in this.
Yes, normally it would be the S, the epsilon sigma.
So the vowels don't contract with the nominative iota stem.
Yes, they do.
They would if you.
Plural.
Well,
Plural.
okay, in reality, no, but they do in the sense that you're.
They're
Okay,
contracting.
okay, look, here's basically what's happening. You see the epsilon iota sigma, okay? The epsilon right there in that is really the epsilon of the stem.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Okay, but they're just putting it here because that's the way it's going to appear to your eyes when you see it.
Okay. So it's always going to be ice at the end
Yes, for
for the
So you-
thing.
So you'll
yeah.
never see a eta.
right.
Yeah,
I wanted to
there's a
do
note
this-
on it, in note 2, by the way, under the
Oh,
chart.
it's,
I wanted to do this one. I wanted to do this one first because it is a little bit of an oddball. Okay, so let's go to the next one.
but is it only with that,
Only with pis.
is it only with pistis? So like if there was another iota stem,
Yes, that's.
then it
then
would
you're
be
gonna
the
use
eta?
this. Then you're gonna
Oh,
use
so you're
this.
still gonna, so you're always gonna, anytime, so it's not just with pistis, it's whenever there's an iota stem, you're never gonna have an epsilon contraction to an eta, where it'll actually look like that. It'll always look like that.
It'll look like this.
Okay.
That's the way it'll look.
Okay.
Okay, so we got pisti, right? How do I make a genitive plural out of that? Look at your,
You would do epsilon, take off the iota, make it into an epsilon,
like
and
that.
then, yeah. Is that right?
Is that right?
Omicron is a vowel.
Or that's an omega.
You mean
Oh,
omega?
okay, yes, that's what I meant.
Would it
That's a
travel?
Is that right?
Would it?
Yeah,
Okay,
it
that's right.
follows this.
Oh, okay.
That's right,
Alright,
okay.
okay.
He
Okay.
sets me up when he
I know.
Well, okay, so let's go to the next one, dative. Okay, how do I do the dative?
Just add C at the end.
Okay, so a sigma epsilon,
Yeah.
like that?
Wait, are we doing plural or we're doing plural, right?
Except for you have the exception
Shouldn't it be-
right there.
Okay, what does the exception say?
An epsilon precedes
If
a
the,
sigma.
if the case ending begins with a consonant, okay, then the final stem vowel is what?
An iota.
Okay,
But you said exception is that in the dative plural. An
okay, in
epsilon.
the dative plural, what do I have?
An epsilon precedes the sigma.
Precedes the sigma, okay?
So it would be epsilon instead of iota.
It would be an epsilon.
Okay. So that rule, the consonantal iota rule, applies to everything but the dative plural, pretty much.
Say again?
So that consonantal iota rule
Applies to
applies to everything but the dative
except the
plural.
dative plural.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of odd that he doesn't have the epsilon sigma iota in parentheses on the dative too, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Well, that's why we're doing it this way, because he didn't provide that. Okay, so we're gonna go to the stem, or I mean to the accusative. How would I do that?
Well, I'm assuming since for the singular we use the first thing in the list, we'll probably use the first thing in the list, so alpha sigma, and it starts with vowels, so the iota has to change to an epsilon, so it'd be epsilon alpha sigma.
Epsilon alpha sigma,
And get rid of the iota and change it.
like that?
Yes.
Okay, no.
What?
Okay, look under, okay, somebody read, let's see, read number one, point number one underneath the chart.
I'll do it. As in the neuters of other declensions, the nominatives and accusatives of the third declension have the same endings, even with the sigma ending. Example, soma is both the nominative and accusative singular forms.
Okay, but don't worry about that, because that example doesn't apply to this example. So, according to that, what should this be?
From the vocab list, it would be, you drop that off and it'd be, you have to make sure I'm looking at the right thing.
So it would be ice, like the nominative.
Yep, just like that.
So then why?
These two are gonna be the same.
Okay, so the reason why it doesn't say that in the chart is because that only applies to the iota stem.
Well, that applies to all of them.
Then why doesn't it just? Then why does it say that in the chart?
Okay, let's just go to the next one, okay, and you'll see how they all kind of come together, all right? Okay, so we've got that. Oh man, look what time it is. Darn. Okay, let's go to sarks. Okay, so we're gonna go to the kappa stem. Okay, as we know, this is my stem. So how would I create a nominative singular? How would I do that? How would I do that?
Just add a sigma?
Okay, add a sigma, okay,
So
you're
then-
right.
But then would it change into the,
Oh, psi.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, so this, when we put these two together, right, what, we end up with a psi, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is, what I'm gonna end up with is a psi. Sarks. That's the nominative, Okay, that's the nominative. Now, how do I do the genitive? The genitive is the easy one. Okay, I just add the Omicron sigma, right? Sarcos. Right? Okay, now how do I do the dative? Okay,
Sarky.
okay, Sarky, right? Okay, I do that. Now how do I do the accusative?
I do not know.
Sarpin?
Huh?
Sarpin? Would you add the?
Sark what? Sarka.
Just what?
You would do
How do
the
I know to
alpha
use the
vowel
A and not the sigma or the?
because it doesn't sound good.
What?
Because it doesn't sound good. Yeah, the Greek.
But
Yeah, the Greek-
they.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But how would you know that it wouldn't use the
The new
sigma
word
and
sigma.
then turn it back into sarks
That's a good point.
based off of the number 1?
Okay, based on the number one,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work that way. It just, we're talking about this over here, and then this is a bit different.
But it has the option for a sigma.
It does, but that's not the way it's going to appear in the New Testament. It's going to appear as sarka.
Okay.
So can I write next to each of the different singular
Or a circle
ablative? Can I write like by the new iota stem and then by the alpha?
If you want, I mean,
Caucus
if it's going to make it easy, but by the time you get you're going to have a bunch of writing all over it, and it's probably not going to be helpful to you. Okay, so this is the way I got my nominative, I've got my genitive, I've got my dative, and I've got my accusative. Okay, I do the same thing for my plurals. Okay, we're going to keep moving. Okay, if you go to, okay, so let's go to the next one, to the tau stem. Okay, now this is newt. Okay, that's my stem. Now, if I want to make this into a nominative, what do I do?
Add the sigma.
I add a sigma, okay? And when I add a sigma, what happens?
I don't remember a contraction like that.
I don't
Okay.
remember TB
Yeah.
contraction.
This is these are the dentals, right? The dentals, the data, or the delta.
Oh, yeah.
When these go together, what happens?
It's just a sigma,
It
right?
just turns into a sigma, right? So this contracts, and then you just end up with a sigma. And then what happens?
It'd be loose.
What happens here?
Oh, it's
Oh
gonna
my
contract
gosh.
again, the same thing the other things
It's
did
going
with
to
the.
contract again, right? It's going to give you a psi, okay? So what that means is I'll end up with a nukes.
This is gonna be so hard.
Well, it's right there in the dictionary. If you look at your dictionary form, it's right there. It's nukes, right? Okay, and then I want to do a, if I want to do a genitive, what do I do to do the genitive?
Just add os.
Os, okay. What do I do if I want to do a dative?
Add iota.
Okay, good, okay. And then what do I do if I want to have a accusative?
Add alpha. Or
Is this the one that gets the sigma?
it's
One of
alpha.
them got to.
Huh?
It's alpha.
Right.
And then the next one is gonna be the sigma. Or-
Huh? The next one?
The-
Oh, I guess I'll just wait. Never
Yeah, the
mind.
next.
Okay. I'm gonna check something here real quick. See if there's anything I'm missing. Okay. All right. Okay. And then of course then you run over and you do the same thing for your plurals. Okay. Now your somatop. Okay. This is the dictionary form, right? Or the genitive. I remove that, and then I've got the mot. So this is a mot stem. Now to do this is a little bit different. So when I do this, the somot, if I want to make that into a nominative, okay, this is a little different because on the mot stems you do not use a sigma. You don't use anything. It's blank. See that blank? The blank is for the mott stems. Okay, so what that means is it's just a blank. Now, problem is this is kind of a rule in Greek, and this is the first time you've probably heard it, but you cannot end a word with tau. That's like a rule. You cannot ever end a word with tau. So the tau drops out, and then what you end up with is soma.
Wait,
That
this
is
is
your
nominative? Oh,
That's the nominative. Okay?
okay.
Okay, and then your genitive, and the rest of them are pretty much the same. So your genitive is somat, okay, and then what do I do to make that into a genitive?
Add os.
Right? So I got somatos, and then if I want to go with a dative,
Add the iota.
okay, somati, and then if I want to go with an accusative, what do I do there?
Add the alpha.
Yep.
Oh no, is this the blank again though?
Hmm?
So what
No.
uses the sigma and the blank?
What? Why? Yeah, that's what I don't know. What is the sigma and the blank for in the chart?
Oh, wait, yeah, okay, yes, you're right. Good call. Because the blank here corresponds with the blank above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
I think we
yes,
said
you're right.
something.
My
So here you
first guess
go.
was wrong. Sorry.
So it's soma.
So, okay. So that means so that means your nominative and your accusative will look identical except for your article. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. Okay, and then if you go over to your plurals, you're going to extend out. You'll extend out to your somata. You'll have somata. So if you want to make this into a plural nominative, you would do this.
Versus the S.
Right.
Okay.
And then for the genitive, okay, you just do that. All right. And then if you're going to go with your dative plural, okay, dative plural, okay, right here. Okay, now how would I make this into a dative plural?
Sigma iota.
Okay, sigma iota, but what happens here?
Turns
Tau and
into
sigma?
a sigma, just a sigma.
Okay, so then it just turns it into a sigma, so then you end up with this. Okay, and then what do you do for your soma? Do the same thing as up here. Okay? Everybody got that? Okay, so, oh boy, we're out of time. We needed to get to lesson 29. Ugh. Okay, so if you go through these, on your own time, just go through and just start. Take your vocabulary words you have there, and just start testing them. Take the genitive, which is the second one, cut the os off the end of it, right? Cut the os off, and then see which stem category it fits in. Okay, and once you figure out what stem category it fits in, then start testing it, and start doing your work. Now, in the back, you do have some examples, not everything, but you do have some examples of some of these parsed out. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see what we can get. Let's see what we can do for lesson 29.